You're probably wondering what your guided or small group instruction could look like. So we've got some suggestions for you. Before reading, we know what we have always traditionally done. Our traditional structure said to set the purpose for our lesson. Today as readers, we will We also know that our traditional structure has us connect potentially back to our shared instruction. Or, if needed for literacy, we can collaborate with our students and navigate features such as the text, language structures, and even certain vocabulary. That is what our traditional structure has always asked us to do before reading. Now, thinking about that, how can we do that to meet the needs of our students virtually? Well, we can still meet with our group as a whole group to introduce our text and set the purpose for reading. So in that small group, we could do that. We also know that we could push out the book to our students and have them preview the text. I'm thinking about these intermediate students and how I could potentially send out the text to them beforehand, have them ready to go with any questions that they may have so that we can quick chat before we start reading as well. Now thinking about what am I doing during our reading? Our traditional structure has always asked for us to conference with our students based on our standards, our strategies, and potentially any reading behaviors that we've noticed. That certainly has not been put to the wayside. Our goal is to still conference with each one of our students by the end of the week, by Friday. Now, thinking about that virtually, I could organize my students into breakout rooms, individual breakout rooms to complete reading while teacher now conferences with select students. What I'm envisioning is that you are popping in and out of these individual breakout rooms. You also could have all but one student exit out of the Zoom to complete their reading so that you are now conferencing just with that one student and asking potentially comprehension questions. And you could invite the remaining group of students back onto the Zoom at a set time to then do whole group discussion at the end. Or you don't have to invite them back. Potentially the next day you will reconvene on any of those teaching points from the previous day. And then thinking through that after reading. Our traditional structure has teacher wraps up the group based on their observations from that day. Or we know that our goal was to clarify any misunderstandings throughout our group, or reflecting back to our purpose for the day. What were we working towards? What strategies did we notice were useful? And then setting up our students for independent work as well, thinking about maybe a reader's response. What would this look like virtually? Well, our students could be returning to that Zoom link if you have set them off to do some reading on their own because you were conferencing with one student. Or the teacher is not pulling back those students as we suggested. Again, this is just an option. The teacher would then revisit those key teaching points at a later time. Or you could have, when you sent them off, they could have been using some type of a recording app where they were recording their own voices reading the text as well. But again, this is simply an option for you. So it's up to you to decide if you would then essentially be sending your students off into those individual breakout sessions where you're pulling them back together, or you sent them off to read the text by themselves because you were conferencing with one student. Again, these are just options or suggestions. By all means, if there is something different that you are thinking about doing, go for it. All right, you guys, we just want to make sure that we revisit that we're not losing our before, during, and after reading. We're just thinking about how can we do this virtually. Good luck, you guys.